And they believe that there are three classes of human beings. There is the anointed class of 144,000 individuals. Now, you know what the term anointed is in Hebrew, is Mashiach. It is the Christ class. And so you have the anointed class of 144,000 individuals, and it's a literal number. Then, and those are only Jehovah's Witnesses today. I'll tell you about how we know about how many there are in just a moment. But then below them, you have what's called the great crowd. The great crowd is, well, unless you live in Brooklyn, New York, the Jehovah's Witness knocking on your door is a part of the great crowd.
That's right. Yes.
They're
a part of the kingdom. I mean, that's a part of the reason why, when we go to a kingdom hall as opposed to a church, that's what they call their place of worship, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you actually go there, and so to me it seems as though that they're trying to set up the kingdom of God on earth, preempting His return. Would that be correct to say?
No, I wouldn't put it that way. What I would say is they believe they're building the kingdom of God, but that He's doing so only within this structure of the 144,000 anointed, then the great crowd, which is 99.9% of all Jehovah's Witnesses. These people do not have what's called a heavenly hope. They do not believe that they will go to heaven.
Yes.
Only the anointed class will be in heaven with Christ. And in fact, Christ, who's now Michael the Archangel again, is one of the 144,000. He's part of the anointed class. The 99% makes up the approximately, well, as of 2010, there were 7.5 million active publishers in Jehovah's Witnesses. That's people who put in the time to actually be going door to door. Now, the religion's bigger than that, because we can tell that by looking at how many people attended what's called the Memorial Supper. On the 14th Nisan, the day of the Passover, the Jewish calendar, they gather, all Jehovah's Witnesses gather at one time. Now, if you've ever seen a Kingdom Hall, you know they have different congregations that meet there over the course of the week. So if they all showed up at one time, there wouldn't be room for everybody. So they have to rent halls and rent other places when they all get together at one time for this one meeting once a year on Passover, basically.
Which is huge. I mean, usually they hire out stadiums and great venues.
They have to, because last year, 18.7 million people worldwide gathered for the Memorial Supper. That gives you much more of an idea of how many Jehovah's Witnesses there are and who's influenced by them. So 7.5 million active publishers, 18.7 gather for this Lord's Supper. Now, this supper, this Memorial Supper, the elements will be passed through the congregation.
Passed by.
And no one will partake.
Except of the 144,000.
Except the 144,000.
Right? Yes.
And they count the number of people who partake. Now, if you just happened to wander in and you partook and they didn't know who you were, and you're not one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you don't count. But they do a count, and they try to figure out how many of the people are claiming to be of the anointed class, because the anointed class, the last one was called into the anointed class in 1935.